showing you on the screen here who they were. So, yeah, let's bring up our top 8 here.
We don't have to wait the 30 minutes for them to fill out their profiles.
No, and we don't have to do
the thing.
Done. We don't have to do
TV
the thing
magic
where we can hear them in the background, but we're not really supposed to know yet. All right, so our first one is Shota Yasooka. Let's just start off with the big headliner here, 4 Pro Tour Top 8 Hall of Famer, etc., etc., and looking to join Yuya Watanabe potentially, as Yuya is the team captain already, and he's already in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for an incredibly stacked Japanese.
I'm getting scared already, man. All right, let's take a look at our next top 8 competitor. That is Yuta Hirosawa, 30 years old, comes out of Tokyo. I have seen him before.
Oh, you have?
I have, yep. But this is his first major MTG accomplishment, so congratulations to Yuta. Great work, and welcome to the top 8. Yuki Matsumoto is our next player. I've
definitely seen him at Pro Tours.
Yeah. He is he won GP Kyoto.
Okay.
And he's 26 years old from Kanagawa. Next one, oh boy, these graphics, when they have a lot more words on them, you know
when
what
they're Hall
means.
of Famers, they're just a lot fancier.
Yeah, Yuya Watanabe, this guy. He's already the team captain, and he wants to be the national champion.
Hey,
and he might do it.
Is like a pretty big deal. I don't know if you know this.
Just
Marcel.
ask him.
It's probably like one of the most important titles that you can have as a Magic player. I would no bias.
I just recognized where we were going with this. A little before my time, but I remember now. Only because Luis told me.
Oh, right.
You're actually pretty good about not bragging. He's not as good at it. Ryoichi Tamada, another not Hall of Fame, another top liner here from Japan, with a finals at the Pro Tour under his belt, as well as being a GP champion. And again, if I'm from Japan and I'm rooting for Team Japan, I'm like, yeah, go Tamada. Next is Takeshi Hattori, 31 years old, RPT Cure. So, kind of this is an upstart, right? This is somebody who, if they can make it onto the team, could use it as a springboard for a career. Riku Kumagai, and this is, BDM was talking about Kumagai earlier, right? Who's, one of these players who, he won GP Tokyo in 2016, it says. Okay.
And he's a gold level pro.
And he has 2 GP top 8s. Yeah. So this is another solid gold pro type player. 42 pro points in 2016, 2017. Like, that's a legit player right there. Kenta Hirane from Japan. Doesn't have any PT top 8s on his resume yet, but he does have 2 GP top 8s and another gold pro here. Yep. So more professional Magic players rounding out our top 8. So fantastic stuff from them. I guess we can take a look at the bracket. Okay, we can take a look at that so you can see kind of how the matchups go, though I don't really have that in front of me at the moment. But you can get an idea for it. All right, Shota Yasooka is going to play against Hirosawa. Matsumoto against Yuya Watanabe. Tamada, Hattori, and then Kumagai's playing Hirane.
These matchups are interesting too. It's like Temur Energy against Temur Energy. We have Mardu Vehicles against Mardu Vehicles.
Oh yeah, they kind of got mirrored up, didn't they?
We got a couple of mono white Eldrazi decks.
Yeah, and one of the things you'll notice about the bracket here, of course, is that Shota and Yuya are on the same side of the bracket.
Ah, okay. So they can't get the dream team.
Right. So if they both win, one will knock the other out in the semis, and they won't be able to make it unless Yuya makes it in to the finals, because he'll actually bump one slot down to one of the third or fourth place finishers. I think there is a playoff. I've actually been talking to Rosenberg, and it got a little. It is okay. I'm being told there is a playoff there, so that is actually on the table.
If Yuya wins, there is a playoff for the 3rd seed.
Yeah, if he makes it to the finals, there is.
Oh, okay.
He will bump one player down
because the finals, of course, first and second.
And if he makes it to the finals, that means that Shota, if he wins his quarter, will be one of those players. All right, this is getting a little intense. That could absolutely happen. So lots to keep our eye on here as we work our way forward. But we're going to take a short ad break. When we come back, though, we are going to be into the top 8. You're not going to go anywhere. We got a lot of more action here from the Japanese Nationals. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to coverage here at Japanese Nationals. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Cheon. We're happy to have you along. We're in Renton, Washington. We're watching this from a pre-recorded standpoint, so don't go on Twitter or anything if you want to keep the spoiler-free zone rolling. But you can go on the Wizards website. We actually have it set up where the updates for each round are rolling alongside us. So with producers watching here from Wizards Coast headquarters and putting those updates up so you can see the standings and some of the written content that we got from Japanese Nationals. But for us, we're heading into the top 8 here, and we just sort of set the stage before the break there with how the bracket looked and what it meant for possible outcomes. And the one that I want to know the most is Shota Yasooka going to make it through? Because if he makes it through to the semis, that means that Yuya could win his quarterfinal to make it to the semis. They would play against each other. If Yuya wins, even if Yuya wins, Shota could still have a chance to make it on the team and join Yuya there. But all of this depends on Shota because he needs to win his round. Yuya, he's free rolling. He's on the team. He's the team captain.
He just wants, he's just playing for the chance to be the national.
He wants
champion.
to be like Paul Cheon and be a national champion.
Right.
It's kind of that's what he told me.
Right. I mean, who doesn't? But that's
so let's watch their match first. We've got Shota Yasooka versus Yuta Hirosawa. Temur Energy versus
Dark Temur.
Temur
Jeskai Black was like what we called the 4-color Jeskai.
You want to call it Temur Black?
It's Temur with 4-color Temur, something like that.
4-color energy,
4-color energy,
something like that.
But they're basically very, very similar. Both of them kind of utilize the great mana. You can just play as many colors as you want. Because you have, of course, the great mana fixing. Taking a look at Shota's list, he's just going for the straight up 3-color version, Temur Energy. Being a little more of the aggressive side, he's playing the Long Tusk Cubs. Some decks opt to play it, some decks don't. And Shota looks like he's playing with the Long Tusk Cubs along with the Bristling Hydras. But again, just very typical,
pretty straightforward.
Standard Temur Energy.
Now,
deck.
what about for Yuta Hirosawa? His deck's a little different. He has branched out a bit. We see the Scarab God in there.
Right. But if you look at his list too, it's got basically 90% of the same cards.
Yeah.
The mana base is slightly different because you have access to 4 Tune with Ether, Ether Hub, and 4 Servant of the Conduit. Any deck you build will just automatically have 12 free sources of mana. Mm-hmm. Or I guess if you play the one basic, that would be 13. And he is splashing for 2 copies of the Scarab God. Now, the Scarab God, great card in kind of grindy mid-range matchups. I know we just saw it win against the mono red matchup, but in a matchup like this, it is the perfect card. You have threats trading back and forth with Glory Bringers, Harness Lightnings, and Braids. So a lot of creatures are going to end up in the graveyard, and this is the card to kind of go over the top.
Yeah,
so,
and
I think Yuta actually has a deck that's a little better suited for the mirror.
I think you're right. Like, I'm looking at the lists here, and I look for those over-the-top cards, because the rest kind of just jam together and trade off, and it's all ended up being the same. But, for Shota, he's got Verdurous Gearhulk. He's got a Sky Sovereign. ... he doesn't really have any other big over-the-top cards for the matchup. And you look at Yuta's side of the board, and he's got 2 Scarab Gods. He's got his own Sky Sovereign, and he has 2 Glory Bringers.
Yeah,
and Ronus the Indomitable.
And he's got the Ronus the Indomitable, which is really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
One thing that Shota has that Yuta doesn't play in his main deck is, I believe, Tireless Tracker. Looks like he only has 2 copies in the sideboard. So, the thing is, the Temur decks do have a lot of ways to deal with Tireless Tracker. You're looking at Harness Lightning, Abrades, and Magma Sprays, right? So it's really hard to actually have it stick.
Yeah.
But if Shota somehow manages to kind of get Yuta to use all of his removal on the other creatures, maybe he can use that Tireless Tracker advantage to kind of win the game. I think that's kind of the only thing that Shota has going for him for the mirror match.
Man, you're right. And just to add even more, 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance for Yuta, 0 for Shota.
Right.
So, wow. All right. This could be a tough one for Shota Yasooka. I mean, he's got to be the superior player in the room. He's maybe just the best player in that entire room.
Right.
But looks like he has his work cut out for him. So why don't we head down? It's time for the quarterfinals here from Japanese Nationals. And welcome back to coverage here at Japanese Nationals. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Cheon, and we're underway in the quarterfinals. Shota Yasooka making a run to play on the World Magic Cup alongside Yuya Watanabe, but he's got to win Well, at least one match to try to get there. He could have a couple shots at it, though, as there will be a playoff. If he wins this match, he makes it into the semis. If Yuya Watanabe wins his quarterfinal match, he will play Yuya in the semis. And even if he loses to him, we'll have another shot at it via playoff. If he loses here or if Yuta doesn't win, then he could just be out.
Shota needs a green mana source here. It looks like he mulliganed to
6.
It looks like he mulliganed to 6, and he capped a hand with Spire Bluff Canal and Island, and he's got Tireless Tracker in hand, so he needs to find a green source. He does have a Whirler Virtuoso, so any land means that he can play a 3-drop, but it looks like he actually... Did he miss his land drop?
He did.
He did?
Yeah,
and he drew Attune with Ether and Servant of the Conduit.
No.
Wow.
He end-step abraded and then just bricked.
Yeah.
And now you see Yuta Hirosawa get aggressive. He's like, I'm going to make a Thopter and start beating down.
Yeah, I mean,
while you're doing
missing land drops here, so...
Yeah.
I mean, if Yuta has like another follow-up here, it's going to be really difficult for Shota to come back. Is this a Bristling Hydra? Chandra on an empty board.
Well,
and we know there's no negates in the main deck.
You know how we can just fast forward to game 2? Maybe we should just hit that button now because this one's just about done.
That was it. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Shota Yasooka says, Marshall, you're 100% correct. Let's go to game number 2. That gives us a chance to take a look at the sideboards really quickly here and see what we've got going on for our players. We already mentioned that the main decks aren't super favorable to Shota. Does he get anything back out of the sideboard? Let's take a look at Shota's first.
Well, so taking a look at Shota's sideboard, one of, I think, the most important cards is actually the Confiscation Coup, because in game 1, he really didn't have an answer to the Scarab God, but now he can steal the Scarab God. And I think that's going to be a card that's definitely going to be coming in. He's also got a couple of copies of Negate, which he could consider bringing in. I know these decks mostly play creatures, but it is a way to counteract Chandra Torch of Defiance, so he might look to bring that in as well. But I think Confiscation Coup here, that's the biggest card for Shota in the matchup to try to steal some of these really difficult to deal with threats that Yuta has in his deck.
Let's see what Yuta has out of the board. Looks like he's got his own copy of Confiscation Coup ×2 there as well.
Yeah, so Yuta can steal those creatures back. He's also got the Tireless Trackers that he didn't have in the main deck, so he gets to kind of make that up. He didn't have that in game 1, but Shota didn't have land, so it didn't matter. He's got the Chandra Flamecaller, just an additional Planeswalker. He could consider bringing that in. There's also a Braid, and possibly even some combination of the counter magic as well. He's also got a spicy one in Cartouche of Ambition, but I imagine that's for the mono-red matchup. He's probably not going to be bringing it in here. One card that Shota had that I didn't highlight that's pretty sweet, Vizier of Many Faces. That card's definitely coming in the mirror, and he could also use that to copy the Scarab God.
Oh, interesting. You do all the work on the mana, and I'll just say thank you very much. Okay, well, let's head down. It's time for game number 2. Can Shota come back? All right, we are underway here in game 2. Shota Yasooka versus Yuta Hirosawa.
He's at 6 again.
Yes. Shota has mulliganed to 6 twice.
Yeah, but this is a much better hand. I see 2 Attune with Ethers and a Forest, so he will actually be able to play Magic this game. So yeah, and actually a very solid starting hand. He's got the double Attune with Ether. He's going to have plenty of energy, and I believe he's got a Rogue Refiner too, which helps kind of mitigate the fact that he is down a card here.
By the way, I do have some updates from our other tables in the top 8 that are happening. The first match that finished up was the Mardu Vehicles Mirror, so they ended up kind of going at each other. Takeshi Hattori ran over Ryoichi Tamada 2-0, so Tamada will not be on the World Magic Cup team. He is going to have to settle for a top 8 here at Nationals, and Hattori puts himself into the semis. Also,
Yuya?
Yuya. 2-0. Just casual 2-0 over Yuki Matsumoto. Just ran him right over.
It's just like the rich get richer, that type of thing.
So
he's already got a slot,
So this actually sets the perfect stage, though. If Shota can win this match, he could have 2 shots at making it on the national team. Even if he loses to Yuya, he'll get another shot at it. But he's got to win 2 games in a row against Yuta Hirosawa.
Yeah, and he's on 6, but he's got to get 6 here.
Not even bothering with red here, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of interesting because oftentimes you want to kind of get that red because double red is really important to be able to cast Chandra to Torch of Defiance on turn 4.
Maybe he didn't have a Guru Mountain, so he's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, we're talking about Shota here. Come on, man.
He has Guru Mountains.
You got to give him some credit.
You're right. He's world class. He has Guru Mountains.
Just like, Paul Cheon might use landbox lands, but Shota, he came to game.
Oh, there's a mountain right off the top there for Shota. And that's going to give him access to Rogue Refiner here.
Oh, and this makes sense. So he got the second blue because I think he might be holding a Confiscation Coup in his hand.
Okay.
So double blue spell. Oftentimes game 1, play pattern is you get the red mana to be able to play your Chandra. But after sideboard, he does have double blue spells in his deck and possibly even negates.
I mean, if you're in Yuta's seat, you have to take note of that, right?
Yeah,
don't you look at that and go kind of like, wait, what? You didn't get red, and then you didn't play red. That's
right. I think
though him playing one out of his hand there also says, well, you might have just already had it.
Do you trade here? This is large. This will largely just depend on kind of the kind of hands that these players are working with.
All right. Also, Shota with, as it turns out, multiple copies of Attune with Ether. This is the third one of the game.
I imagine. Oh, okay. Thought maybe he was going to get a mountain this time.
He already had double green.
Yeah, it's possible he has another red source in his hand. Or does he even play Chandra?
No.
Oh, okay. That makes just a lot more sense.
Right. For some reason, I was thinking that might come out of the board, so I didn't say anything, but you're totally right. He has none in the main or the
There's
board.
usually a Chandra in the 75.
Yeah. His mana is actually quite a bit better as a result, isn't it?
Right.
No Chandras and no fourth color.
Right. Just blue-green with a touch of red. I was like, Shota's way smarter than us. There's got to be a reason why he's doing this.
The thing is, I've learned not to question. I just say what he's doing and let him do his thing.
Just appreciate the mastery.
Yes.
Let him do his thing.
This is interesting. If Yuta has a Chandra, he does play Chandra. If he's got one here, he got to be thinking about negate, right?
But could have negate, right.
Plus, Shota loves negate, but he doesn't have it. Oh, boy.
Shota loves negate.
Man, he puts it in every deck. Like, I've covered him for a long time, and he just runs negate constantly.
It is a great card.
Oh, he's got Chandra's Defeat. He even gets to rummage here. That's value. That is some value.
Nice. All right.
Well,
does he have a big threat here? I mean, Shota has access to 8 energy, and I think that was a Long Tusk Cub.
He definitely drew that for the turn, but there's the Cub.
Gigantic. It can be a 7/7 here.
Wow, so that could chew up the life total of Yuta Hirosawa quite quickly.
Right, even if Yuta has a Harness Lightning, that's only 5 damage. So he cannot get rid of it with just a Harness Lightning alone.
Wow, that Chandra's Defeat was clutch. Because when he didn't have negate, I thought, welp, good run. But
and that could be a reason why he opted not to play Chandra in his 75, thinking, well, in the mirror matches, the important cards are cards like Chandra and Glorybringer, and many of these teamer decks are going to play Chandra's Defeat because you're just going to have it because of the ramming up red decks. So you just don't want your expensive cards to be red cards because it just gets blanked by a 1-mana spell.
And incidentally placed 1-mana spell.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense. Rogue Refiner now from Yuta. A fine play, but that Long Tusk Cub's looking pretty scary.
Yeah. In fact, in Shota's deck, he has exactly 2 targets for Chandra's Defeat. So I imagine lots of players potentially into Swiss could have just brought in Chandra's Defeat thinking it was a free card to bring in for the matchup and just have it not actually have any targets. So now Yuta's on 5 energy. So if he does have the Harness Lightning, he can get rid of the Long Tusk Cub. I would probably look to fire it off in the main phase if I did have one here. Don't want to get negated or Blossoming Defense, although I think they might have access to each other's deck lists. So he does have the Harness Lightning.
Okay. And as we've seen before, the currency exchange here is not great for Shota's side of it. He has to pay 2 energy for every 1 that Yuta pays.
Yeah, and Shota's can't be happy about this. Imagine being on Shota's side, playing against Yuta, having a Long Tusk Cub that's potentially a 7/7 on an empty board. He's like, oh, I got to feel pretty safe here. Yuta has to have both something that makes energy plus Harness Lightning to actually get rid of this Long Tusk Cub, and he did. Yeah.
So another huge swing in this match, this time back over to Yuta Hirosawa.
Yeah, and Shota.
Now, how does it sit, though? Right, we have Aethersphere Harvester versus Rogue Refiner, a couple of cards in hand for each player. Is this pretty even right now?
It is pretty. I mean, Yuta's it seems like he's much more ahead on cards. Shota does have access to a confiscation coup, but I don't think I think he wants to hold that for a bigger threat here. So he does have a Lumbering Falls in hand. He could. Oh no, that's a Verdish Gear Hulk. I think.
He's got confiscation coup for sure.
He is opting to use a confiscation coup. That's interesting.
It's going to get him in for 3 here.
I thought he might have wanted to hold the confiscation coup for kind of a bigger creature that Yuta might have been sandbagging here, and possibly just activate the Lumbering Falls, Crude the Aethersphere Harvester, and just kind of get you for 3. But it looks like he's going for the tempo play here. I guess he was thinking, the combination of playing Confiscation Coup into Verdish Gear Hulk is also very strong.
Okay.
Strong line here, because next turn he can just play the Verdish Gear Hulk, make the Rogue Refiner and the Aethersphere Harvester huge, and just get in for a ton of damage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but here's
but there's a Scarab God
now. And that's the kind of card you really would like to steal.
Yeah.
He's going to need his other confiscation coup or a way to deal with it, because again, the fact that burning it out just doesn't work in the long run means that cards like confiscation coup are really at a premium for spots like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now Shota just has to kind of his game plan now is basically just kind of all in on the Aethersphere Harvester here, right? He's just going to play the Verdish Gear Hulk, Crew with the Harvester,
God, he
just
can't be
get in
too
for
thrilled
7
with
for
that.
3 turns.
Yeah, I mean, it can work. It's not that it can't work. It's just fragile.
Yeah. But that is also the out in the face of a Scarab God. Yuta does not have any swamps in play, but of course he's got Aether Hub with 5 energy, so plenty of activations there.
Also, you saw Yuta ask Shota, hey, can I look through your graveyard real quick? Just want to see what targets I've got over there.
Right. So he has a couple of options with the Verdish Gear Hulk. He can opt to just kind of put all the counters on the Aethersphere Harvester. Alternatively, he could make the Rogue Refiner into a 7/6, which does attack through the Scarab God.
Okay.
But the problem with having that Rogue Refiner is you're only going to be able to make that attack for 1 turn, because Yuta can then start making tokens and double blocking.
Wow, he's doing it,
But he's doing it. He's going for the really aggressive play.
Yeah, Shota is really just trying to do the tempo thing. I mean, look, it is a tough spot for Yuta, because if he does decide to block here, it sets him back a long way.
Oh, yeah, he cannot block here.
Right. So he's taking 7? That's a big hit.
It's a big hit.
I mean, just 7, on the ground.
Right. He takes 7, goes to...
I mean, he's going to take 10 total.
He takes 10, goes to 7, and then next turn is a turn where he gets to potentially stabilize.
But he's still going to be taking hits in the air if he uses up his mana.
Right.
This is getting interesting now.
Yeah, he needs to find, like a Harness Lightning here, maybe? And I don't think Shota opted to use the energy for lifelink on the Aethersphere Harvester there.
It's strange.
Yeah.
I mean, with 11, 10 at the time.
Yeah, a huge card out of Yuta here would be Harness Lightning. Yeah. Having the Harness Lightning would mean that he'd be able to deal with Shota, one of Shota's biggest threats, and also be able to eternalize, and that's going to be really, really hard to come back from, unless Shota has another haymaker in the form of something like a confiscation coup.
Anything that costs 5 mana, basically.
A 5-drop.
Yeah. If he does have Harness Lightning, would he just take out the Rogue Refiner in that scenario, or is the Aethersphere Harvester a problem? And remember, he's down to 7 here and doesn't have any flying interaction at the moment.
That's an interesting question.
Shota's really done a good job of putting major heat on Yuta here.
Right, because what he could opt to do, so let's say he had the Harness Lightning and he used it on the Aethersphere Harvester, then he can make a token and double block the Rogue Refiner, take 4, go to 3, the Scarab God would go back to his hand, then he can replay the Scarab God, and then Yuta would be at 3, but he would not have to worry about a flyer. And given that they have access to each other's deck list, Shota doesn't have a Glorybringer in his deck. He doesn't have to worry about the threat of just dying from a Glorybringer or getting burned out by a Chandra. So I think that might be kind of the line that he has to go with here. Oh,
he's got a Long Tusk Cub.
I saw a different card.
Okay.
That I saw a red card.
Well, the Long Tusk Cub gives him a free crew here and actually gives him lethal. Yuta is going to have to at least buy a creature back in order
here we go.
to do some blocking.
What does Yuta have?
Yeah, what's in Yuta's hand? What are the plays here from Shota? Because he is representing lethal damage as the board sits.
Yeah. I mean, Harness Lightning or a Braid. If he has an Abrade, of course, he'll just use that on the Harvester. Harness Lightning is a far more interesting decision here.
Now, what if he just Scarab Gods?
If he just has Scarab God and that's the only thing that he has,
then he would eat up the...
Then he has to block both of the ground creatures or he's just going to die.
Right, so he would probably just put the Scarab God on the Gear Hulk chump block with whatever 4/4 he ends up getting and take 3 in the air. But also, of note, that would put a Verger's Gear Hulk in the graveyard.
Yeah,
That could come back pretty big.
Right, and he can get
the Harness Lightning.
Card. He does have the Harness Lightning. What is he going to get with the Harness Lightning? Oh, okay. Wow. That's big. It's like run the numbers, make sure you remove the right amount of energy there.
Absolutely. And it dies. It was Yuta's. So Yuta's going to fall down to 4 here.
And Yuta actually not opting to...
Wait, what is this?
Oh, yeah. I was wondering, why did Yuta not opt to make a creature in double block just to be safe?
Because this actually is lethal.
This is lethal damage.
The trample will carry over and hit Yuta for 7. This could have been a huge misstep from Yuta Hirosawa.
Unless Yuta has another removal spell. He might. That looks like it could be a red card.
This is...
Wow.
It's lethal if this resolves and there's nothing else to be said. Can he gain life from a creature enter the battlefield? Does he have some play?
He would need another Harness Lightning or an Abrade here. I mean, he can't make a creature.
Oh.
Wow.
This to me is the pause of a player who is simply taking in the fact that they just got Shota Yasooka. Because I don't see how he gets out of this.
You just got Shota.
You got Shota, bro.
Don't worry, it happens to everybody.
He's looking at his hand, though. Maybe he does have something.
I'm guessing that Yuta has something here. Because if he doesn't, this
has gone on for a little while, right?
Yeah. So I am guessing that he does have either an Abrade or a Harness Lightning, and he's just figuring out what he should be targeting here. My guess is that he should probably go for the Sphere Harvester here. The Scarab God does come back to his hand.
Okay.
Well, no. Then that's going to put him down to 3.
Yes.
And then Shota has Long Tusk Cub, Verder's Gear Hulk, and a Lumbering Falls that he could attack with. Yeah, he's in a really tough spot
here. Which are all
here.
lethal?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yuta does have the Abrade. He's going to use the destroy target artifact to kill the Verger's Gear Hulk.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, this actually works out better because then Shota has to draw because he wants to he needs a crew to actually attack with the Sphere Harvester. Right. Whereas if he upgrades the Sphere Harvester, then it's just free attacks from the other creatures.
Still, that could have easily cost Yuta this game.
Yeah, Yuta's at 4.
Yeah,
he needs to find an answer to that Harvester in 2 turns. That was a huge swing. Yeah, so Shota does have Lumbering Falls and the Long Tusk Cub. So,
but Yuta has at least the Scarab God in hand minimum.
He does have at least the Scarab God.
So he's not going to be able to get in on the ground with a single creature.
Right, but that Long Tusk Cub means currently we're sitting on 9 energy. So the Long Tusk Cub is a 6/6, right? Potentially a 6/6. He can activate the Lumbering Falls to crew the Sphere Harvester and also attack with the Long Tusk Cub. And if Yuta doesn't have anything else other than the Scarab God is just on chump block, dude.
Yeah, and that does not feel like a tenable situation for Yuta.
Yeah.
So he's going to play a Bristling Hydra.
So if he plays a Bristling Hydra here, It's only a 5 power Bristling Hydra because he's only sitting on 2 energy right now. He needs it to have 6 power to threaten kind of being dealing with the Longtusk Cub.
With the Cub, yeah. Also, though, Shota's 1 energy away. Still, he could just send in here.
Yeah, I imagine activate, crew, attack with both. What you got?
Another Harness Lightning for Yuta.
Just all of the Harness Lightnings?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's felt like he's been dead for a turn or two here, but he keeps on having the right removal spells to keep himself just barely alive.
So is this a chump block into get your Aethersphere Harvester?
Or does he take the 3 from the Harvester? It doesn't feel like he can do that, does it?
Unless he has another removal spell.
Yeah, I don't think he does. But he's just going to lose the next turn to the Harvester otherwise.
And Shota just has to at least make it a 5/5 and then kind of force the action out of Yuta.
Wow, so close for Yuta. Because he's actually just an energy short, right? If he has 1 more energy, he can make his Hydra into 6 power and actually trade off and then use his Harness Lightning. I guess, he can't actually have both, right? Because if he uses 6 energy for the Hydra to trade, then he wouldn't have enough energy to actually kill the Harvester. So he's actually well short on energy.
Does he want to just put himself in a situation where he has to tap like a 2-mana spell here? Or does he just want to somehow have an answer to this 6/6 Longtusk Cub? Because right now, if he uses the Harness Lightning, he gets the Aethersphere Harvester, but the Bristling Hydra is dead. Then there's a Longtusk Cub and a Lumbering Falls on the board here. And Yuta's currently sitting on 7 lands too. So I was going to say if he had access to 9 mana, he could play Scarab God and activate potentially if he had access to 2 black mana. But that's also not an option here. All right. Yeah, okay.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Bristling Hydra with the chump block here. No reason to use 3 energy to get Shota to use 2 energy here. So I imagine, that's okay. So Yuta needs.
I don't know what he needs.
Whirler Virtuoso would be a great draw. Gives you the chump blockers that allows you to stabilize with Scarab God.
Whirler Virtuoso would be fantastic.
Yeah, Harness Lightning would still work. It would be his 4th Harness Lightning.
Right. I mean, he's not losing this turn as the board sits, right? Even with the Lumbering Falls, he'll still only go down to 1.
Right.
But this is not getting better for him.
Yeah, blocking with Scarab God. Like if he had something like a Longtusk Cub here, for example, just to chump block, that would be huge.
Yes. He could actually start leveraging the Scarab God because Yuya has really turned this into kind of a tempo game, Right. He's just kept on him, made him chump block with a Bristling Hydra Scarab God.
Yuta's down to 1.
Chump block.
Yuta's down to 1.
Go to 1.
Oh, no, that's too big. That's a 6/6, right? Not an 8/8.
It should have 5.
It should have 4 counters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're just assuming that it's lethal.
Ooh, that was a Tireless Tracker. Yeah. Does he have a black source? Do you want to tap like that if you have a Scarab God in hand? If you have Tireless Tracker, you definitely want to play a black source, right? Oh.
It's a tap land.
Okay, so he's looking for
an answer here. Draw his 4th Harness Lightning?
4th Harness Lightning. Or a Servant of the Conduit.
A Braid does not get it done. Does Harness Lightning even give it done?
Harness Lightning... Well,
like,
if it's actually a 6/6.
Bear is a 6/6.
It's not an 8/8, right?
I don't believe it is.
Oh, that's a chump blocker. And that Longtusk Cub is a 6/6. There shouldn't be 6 counters on there.
I think you're right, Paul. Well, there's nothing we can do about it at this point.
Right. All right. Yeah, because if that was a 6/6, Shota would probably just activate both and attack and basically trade Lumbering Falls with one of the creatures, and then the Longtusk Cub would just eat another creature.
It just gets chumped, yes.
But if we're assuming that the Longtusk Cub is an 8/8, then just...
I mean, it's the same difference, right?
Yeah. I guess it's a...
Like, the result is still activate, attack. Oh, it looks like Shota's going to turn in a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So now this cub being an 8/8 is really awkward because now he can just attack.
Because it doesn't
it doesn't die, because otherwise you would be able to double block. I wonder if they're gonna
I wonder if
they're like, why is it that big? That doesn't make sense. That should definitely be a 6/6, and you should double block. All right. But I mean, Yuta survived another turn. And he has that Scarab God in hand. So he just hanging on.
Yeah,
hanging on.
He's an untapped land from being able to play it and activate it too.
What's he got here? It's a 4-mana card. Does he have energy for Confiscation Q? No. It's Scarab God time.
Okay, so Scarab God comes back. 3 mana additional, no land drop throw.
Does Shota go all in here? Does Shota opt to just attack with the Lumbering Falls here? Because it is technically lethal.
With all 3?
With all 3 creatures. If Yuta has... Oh, and a safe way here to play around a Braid is to sack to see if Yuta has... Did you see Shota just snapped it off?
Yes.
He's like, I'm going to crack this right away.
Yes.
So that now my Tireless Tracker cannot die to a Braid.
So we're talking about 1 copy of Harness Lightning left in the deck?
Right. That is the only card.
That's really smart from Shota.
Yeah. Because he knows if Yuta had a response, he would have used it right there.
Yep.
So now the path is clear. What can Yuta have? I don't think he can have anything in this spot.
And Shota's going for it.
That's it. Yep.
And Yuta doesn't have anything. And Shota Yasooka wins game number 2. And I hate to tell it to Shota. He's got to win another one here.
He does. That was a tight one.
All right, let's take a quick look at the sideboards here as we work our way up to the next one. Shota's sideboard. Any notes here, Paul? Just
no, I imagine
based on what we saw.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Player draw doesn't really matter in kind of the more like grindier mid-range matchups. Everybody's just kind of looking to play their haymakers, and hopefully that kind of sticks and gets there. So I imagine both players are likely going to sideboard in a very similar fashion here.
What about Yuta?
If I'm on Yuta's side, one card that I might consider boarding out would be Chandra, Torch of Defiance, or possibly even the Glorybringers as well, because of the existence of Chandra's Defeat, and maybe he has other cards he can play in his sideboard over that.
Okay, well, let's do it. It's going to be game 3 here in the quarters, and this is a really exciting one because we know that Yuya Watanabe has advanced to the semis and is waiting to play the winner of this match. If it is Shota Yasooka, he will have 2 chances to make it on the World Magic Cup team with Yuya. Even if he loses to him next round in the semis, he'll have a playoff that he can win and make it in. And of course, if he beats Yuya Watanabe, he'll just join him right away.
Right.
So this is a massive one, not only for Shota, but also for Japan. And poor Yuta Hirosawa is like, hey, I want to win too, you know? The incentives are just
trying
different.
His best.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of just hanging in there against one of the best Japanese Magic players ever.
One of the best players ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shota in the Hall of Fame, 4 Pro Tour top 8s, and also incredibly well respected by the pro Magic community too. He's one of those players that he intimidates, and I don't mean like makes them play bad, but they just look and go, how is he so fast making these decisions? Like I would have come to that conclusion too, but he knew it was still my turn, you know?
Yeah. He was just like, I'm going to play this land for the tracker and crack it instantly because you might have this removal spell. Mm-hmm. And then because now my creatures are safe from your removal spells, I will now kill you.
Right.
It's like,
where like a normal pro would go like, all right, so what do I got here? You know, like
okay.
A braid.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, but if I play the clue, okay, a braid, crack the clue, look at your opponent. You know, he's just like bang, bang, bang. You know,
he's like, no, I already ran the numbers.
Like,
I already know.
I know. Yeah. Okay, good start mana wise here though for Yuta. He even got in a braid out of Shota's hand here with a Servant of the Conduit. And now he plays kind of the ultra rare. It's the Tireless Tracker just into the empty board with no land.
And Shota needs Shota was in like a slightly awkward spot where he had to use kind of the energy from the Ether Hub for the red mana from the Abrade, but he got it back with the Rogue Refiner. But that means that Tireless Tracker is going to live for a turn because he didn't have the red mana, and it's going to give Yuta a little bit of an advantage here. For grinding matchups like this, it's all about like kind of, getting tiny edges here and there, 2-for-1s. Tireless Tracker, never play a turn 3. Most like you want to play it and play a land if you can, just little things like that. And and Yuta's also kind of developing his board.
I mean, Shota knows this lesson too. He's the one that plays Tireless Trackers in his main deck.
Right.
He's all about that grind.
Yeah, but he also didn't want Yuta to have kind of the explosive start with the Servant of the Conduit, so it's totally reasonable for him to just go with the Abrade on the Conduit there. Oh, and no removal effect for the Tracker.
He draws a Tracker of his own.
Wow.
But this one could get out of hand very quickly.
This is rough. For
Yuta Hirosawa, as we see Shota had burned his Abrade on that Servant of the Conduit, leaving him no answer for the Tireless Tracker.
So currently he's got 6 energy, so he can turn the Bristling Hydra into 7/6, which Shota could double block. We did see a Confiscation coup, though, out of Yuta. He could opt to get really aggressive here, play a land, steal a Rogue Refiner, and then attack with the Bristling Hydra. Now, if he has just the 2-mana removal spell, he could also kind of do it that way.
He's actually just going to sacrifice a clue here.
Okay.
Which is going to allow him to perhaps keep hitting his land drops in case that was an issue.
Okay, so it's looking like he wants to just play the Tireless Tracker game here.
So his turn is going to be crack a clue, play a land, make a clue, crack a clue?
Right.
Okay, that's a pretty good turn.
Yeah. Also just kind of building up the Tireless Tracker here as well.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of.
Ooh, is it going to be one of those games?
It's starting to look like it.
Tracker versus Tracker.
And I have to say, even though Yuta Hirosawa was the first one to get this whole Tracker thing going, I feel like these type of intricate, grindy games just favor Shota. He loves playing these games. He's excellent at them.
Yeah. But Yuta is really, really far ahead on cards here.
He really is.
So I think I like Yuta's side more, but we're talking about Shota here. Now, he can even press the advantage here. He can use Confiscation Coup here to steal Tireless Tracker and to start pumping out 2 clues a turn. That's just so tempting.
I would think I would probably do that.
Just so much value.
Yes. I am not able to resist such temptation.
If it's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Right, exactly. Yeah. See, you get it.
Yeah, I do. I saw your reactions to Shota's draft deck earlier.
Oh, it was so good.
the dream deck.
Which deck do you think's better, Temur Energy or Shota's draft deck?
Oh, probably close. I mean, only one of them has Sifter Worm, to be fair.
That's right. Close matchup. All right, is this going to be Confiscation Coup?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, Shota, no. Yoink. Has to send his Tireless Tracker away, and this one is very quickly slipping away.
Please don't have a land. Please don't. Oh, he has a land.
Double clue.
No.
This one's slipping away
Not
from
like
Shota
this.
Yasooka very quickly here.
Yeah. Okay, so that looks like it's a removal effect. It looks like a red burn spell.
Is it Wrath of God?
Yeah. I guess Hour of Devastation wouldn't even be that great because the Bristling Hydra would survive. Would it? Oh, no. He's 1 energy short.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but he needs to deal with these trackers or they will just completely get out of hand.
And it's been clear that he has not had an answer for them thus far.
Right. He's been digging. Oh, so this is just so much value. He's got that clue on the board.
There is hope.
He could maybe look to find an answer, or he could just try to keep up with his own Tireless Tracker, but instead he's opting for the Rogue Refiner here.
Really needed to find a removal spell there to start chipping away at these Tireless Trackers and couldn't do it.
Right. The Long Tusk Cub is threatening to be a 6/6 here. Possibly more if Shota has a Harness Lightning. As you can just cast Harness Lightning and not remove any energy. Mm-hmm. That's an additional, I guess, +1/+1 counter on the Long Tusk Cub, although it's likely better to just get something. Okay.
And it looks like Shota says trade.
Yeah. He's like, I'm happy with this trade.
Yeah, he's like, I'm passing priority, man. It's on you.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Shota says, okay, I'll get a little bit back here, a little bit back.
Now, if Shota has a removal effect here to get the bigger tracker off the board. Oh, he's going for the smaller tracker. He wants the energy.
Yeah, he has the braid. So
that wasn't a braid. It was not a harness light.
Yeah, it was already too big. So,
all right.
But still, he did get one back. I mean, you can't figure that this is a long-term solution, but at least he's containing the threats here from Yuta.
Yeah, he dealt with 2 big threats out of Yuta's side, but Yuta is still with 2 clues and the person with the tireless tracker on the board.
Now he's got a long tusk cub of his own. Triple Rogue Refiner is the defense here for Shota.
Long tusk cub.
Second one, a lot worse, right? It's just, they're both pretty energy hungry, and you kind of can't have both. Tireless tracker, though, for Shota Yasooka. And the land.
And he actually, I believe I saw a Vizier of Many Faces, too. He could have played a Vizier of Many Faces on to copy the tracker, but since he had to play a land, he's sitting on it. Maybe Yuta plays a Scarab God. Also, he has those 2 clues on the battlefield, so it looks like he just wants to make his tracker bigger and draw more cards.
Wow, Shota is actually working himself back into this game, though. I mean, a turn ago, he was facing 2 Tireless Trackers and a Bristling Hydra.
Yes.
Last turn, he traded off resources to make it just a big Tireless Tracker. Now he's got his own tracker, 2 clues, and then the defense from the 3 Rogue Refiners.
5 mana. Oh, another confiscation
coup. Does he have negate?
His favorite. Oh, that's Jace's defeat.
Jace's defeat.
Counter target blue spell.
Close enough. Oh, boy.
Wow.
So he gets to keep his Tireless Tracker and have Yuta use up a big chunk of mana for the turn, though he still has a land drop to hit.
Wait. We were like, is it another negate?
Yeah. He's just going to make him use up a little more energy. Yeah. So that's huge, though, for Yuta. And, this isn't lucky draw here, right? This is Yuta leveraging all those cards that he's earned over the course of the game from the various Tireless Trackers that he's controlled.
5 mana. Oh.
Confiscation coup, yours! There are Tireless Trackers jumping around like popcorn in a bowl here. And now Shota has the big Tireless Tracker. And look at Yuta. He's down to just 2 long tusk cubs.
But he does have 3 clues on the battlefield.
That's right. He has hope.
Yeah. All right. Here comes Rogue Refiner.
Oh, we're in full grind mode here, kids.
Those cubs.
They are big, though the Rogue Refiners have to be able to do good blocks, right?
Yeah.
9 power he can throw around.
But he's got 5 counters to spread around at instant speed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be kind of tricky. I think that was a Harness Lightning.
Land. No clue. Okay. You're right. It is a Harness Lightning.
All right. So pumping it up so this makes you to use 1 more energy.
Right.
To get rid of it. Okay.
Wow. So now the dust is finally settled and nobody has a Tireless Tracker after all that?
Okay.
This has been awesome
There's a
match.
clue on one, 2 on the other. Yeah, I think this is very even right now.
Shota's going to play Bristling Hydra and maybe another one? Yes.
Wow.
Now it's big Hydras versus Cubs.
Okay. So now can Yuta find something, a big threat here? Something like a Scarab God to get him
right. He wants one of these over-the-top plays that he has access to.
Oh, that was, I think, a Chandra.
Yeah, see, Yuta has way more over-the-top plays than Shota does. He's the one who has access to Glory Bringers and Chandra Torch of Defiance. He's got a Sky Sovereign, although so does Shota.
I also wouldn't be shocked if Shota boarded out Chandra's defeats, thinking that Yuta might board out his red cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is going to get him back into the game. I'm going to draw a card here. What is this? Oh, 2 damage.
A hub, take 2.
He needs to put pressure on the board here, though.
That was his last clue being sacrificed.
Was that just another cub?
It was. Yeah, the third cub really not doing it for Yuta here.
I imagine a very big attack this turn, all aimed at the Chandra.
Shota sacrifices his last clue, so there's none of those
no more
left,
clues.
Right? No more trackers, no more clues. And just a lot of power and toughness.
But he really wants to get that Chandra off the board.
Absolutely. Can he do it? He can for sure get in for 3.
Right.
And then maybe trade off some other resources. But we see Shota doing the math and lining up, okay, well, I've got these 4 that are going to get blocked. You've got this much energy to throw around on these cubs.
Yuta can block in a way where he can make... Actually, he only has access to 7 energy. So he could make one of the cubs into a 4/4 to basically just eat one of the Rogue Refiners. And then, like, kind of basically chump with all the other ones to try to keep the Chandra alive. Shota might be considering just keeping back some of the creatures because he doesn't want some of the Long Tusk cubs to survive and get out of hand. Just providing more energy for Yuta. But Shota does have access to 11 energy, so that's 3 counters that he can distribute to the Bristling Hydras.
Yeah, this is where,
this is where Shota figures everything out.
Yeah, like his mental horsepower just kicks in, and Shota can just grind through all these scenarios, keep them all in his head, and make the right decision so often, where many of us would, even after looking at the information, come up with a line that wasn't optimal. Oh, wait, what is he doing now?
So he's got a Vizier of Many Faces. Will he copy Bristling Hydra or Rogue Refiner? 11. If he copies Bristling Hydra, that gives him 14, so it doesn't give him more energy for an extra counter.
And he'd get a card if it was a Refiner.
Right, he'd get a card if it was a Refiner. So I think he's probably just going to copy a Rogue Refiner here. If he finds like a Harness Lightning or something, that would be pretty huge. Oh, what was that?
What was that card?
Shota, could you please show us the card?
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it. Oh, so just the Hydras. So that's 13 energy. Shota has 4 +1/+1 counters to mess around with to place onto his Bristling Hydras. So he can make one of them in 8/7 if he really wanted to.
If that was a red spell that Shota drew as well, that could be really important here. It could be a Chandra's defeat, maybe in a Braid.
Yeah, and any red spell, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All the red spells in his deck are just removal effects. So I think there's probably going to be a double block here. Rogue Refiner with, plus a Long Tusk Cub on one of the Hydras, because with the 7 energy, he can threaten to remove one of the Bristling Hydras. And then the question is, what does he want to do with the other Hydra? He can opt to double block, or maybe just chump with one of the cubs, because,
This has been a sick match, by the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This game especially. Remember when Yuta was the one that had the double tireless tracker going?
Right.
Then they kind of started playing ping pong with the tireless trackers until
I'll
they're
steal
all
your
gone.
thing, you steal my thing. Yeah.
Clues flying around the table.
Five, 6. So we have 4 counters. 6, 7. Okay. I think Rogue Refiner plus Cub probably is one of the blocking combinations. I'm not really sure what Yuta will do with the other block. Is he going to single block? Double block? Ooh, triple block.
These are very, very, very complicated.
Right.
Because of the fact that there's multiple combats that are likely to happen, meaning, a double block here, a single block there, and then there's all this energy that the players can decide not to use, and he has to consider all the possible options, with Shota being like, sure, pass priority.
Yeah.
Now what? Do you start using it? And then if you do, does he? And who wins that fight? And what if you pick a fight on one of the double blocks, and then, and then Shota responds, and then you say, okay, on this other one, I'll go and start putting energy.
Right.
Like, you have to figure out all this stuff.
And on top of that, if Shota randomly has a removal spell, everything just gets ruined.
Right.
and you can't play around. And he can't play around.
But he'll want to consider, is there a better option if he does? Right. Like you said, you're not getting around it.
Yeah. This is,
But that doesn't
going
mean
to be
that
one of the most important blocks in the match. So he really has to try to run all the numbers here and figure everything out. I mean,
this is like if you like doing puzzles.
Yeah. So he's considering triple block with the Cubs and a single block on the Refiner. If he does this, Shota will simply just pump the Bristling Hydra, make that one into a 5-4, right? So that's an easy one.
And look at this, Shota. See, this is why people are intimidated by Shota.
Yeah.
He just jumps right in like, yep, I already figured out what you were going to do.
And then he's probably just going to pass here, right?
Yeah, he's just going to say,
I'll eat 2 long tusk Cubs for my Bristling Hydra.
Yep.
It's on you, Yuta. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, how do you feel about a 2-for-1?
Yeah.
And an 0 for 1?
Really rough.
Yeah, how does that sit with you?
Yeah, if this happens, Yuta's left with just Chandra and a long tusk Cub.
Right. In a game where he had 2 long tusk Cubs and 2 tireless trackers and then a Chandra.
Yeah. And so I think he's got to try to do this weird counter. Oh no, he's not. Okay.
He let this happen.
All right. Wow. So Yuta does have.
Oh, it was Chandra's defeat. Oh, what a blowout! That's what he drew off of that clue.
That was the red card,
and that was Yuta doing everything he could to protect Chandra.
Yeah.
And then after the dust settled, he's like, "You're losing it anyway." Oh my God, Shota Yasooka. He's too good.
Too good.
He's just too good.
Yuta just got Shota'd.
I need that bumper sticker. Get Shota'd. It happens to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pros. This is just insane.
Wow. All right. Well, I think Shota is probably going to go with the...
with the get you dead ASAP here?
Attack with everything. The old right-click attack with all. Yeah, none of those lands are creature lands on Yuta's side. There are no Lumbering Falls, so, yep. And that was another land in hand.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Shota Yasooka. He wants to play for Team Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say that.
That was an incredible game 3.
That was awesome to watch him work his way through. There was at least 2 snapshots that I could have been like, screenshot, hey, Paul, what do you think about this? And he'd be like, well, Shota's dead.
Yeah, this is just the turn where he Confiscation Coot stole the tracker, then played a land with 2 trackers on the battlefield to Shota 0. Yeah. I was just like, all right, well, it's just over.
Yeah, because he's massively ahead on board, and then he's just stockpiling all this future value with the clues. And it's just not going to end well for him. Let's just say that. Okay, so what are we looking at next here? Just an ad? Okay, we can take a look at the bracket and see how that has shaped up, because we are down the stretch now, heading into the semifinals of the tournament. Guess I'll do that after. And so let's take a look at the bracket. We are setting up for Yuya Watanabe versus Shota Yasooka. But I can tell you that since this did happen a little while ago, that Yuya actually ends up scooping. That's the term we use for he concedes to Shota Yasooka because he just wanted to play with him on the team.
Yeah, well, they test together. Yeah. They're on the same team. They're teammates. Yuya Watanabe is locked, of course, because he is the pro points leader, and having a guaranteed Shota on your team to improve Japan's chances.
But no national champion for Yuya. What if he would have won?
I know. You lied to me. You told me he wanted to be the next.
I thought he did. Turns out he was just running interference. Yeah. What that means is that the other side of the bracket's the one we're going to end up watching next round to see, well, who's going to play Shota in the final and who's going to be our national champion. And also, the winner of the match we're about to watch is going to determine the third seat. Right, in the World Magic Cup. So a lot on the line. In the next one, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more coverage of Japanese nationals here from Renton.